This is the rock that was carved out of a huge boulder on the Isle of Skye, and it's got a dinosaur in it. The very first and the most complete dinosaur to ever be found in Scotland. I mean, it's really hard to look at this and call it the most complete dinosaur, but I promise it is, even if it doesn't look like it. How do I know? Well, I asked a researcher who organized the extraction, Dr Elsa Panciroli.
It's one of the most complete, no, well, it is the most complete dinosaur fossil from Scotland now.
There you have it. But anyways, let's get to the point. The fossil was extracted near the village of Elgol, and so they named it the Elgol Dinosaur. And it's not just a common dinosaur fossil. It dates back to the Middle Jurassic, and unlike what Jurassic Park may make you believe, there were no T-Rexes, Triceratops and Velociraptors in the Middle Jurassic. In fact, the Elgol dinosaur and T-Rex lived 90 million years apart.
So in other words, we're closer in time to Tyrannosaurus rex than Tyrannosaurus rex is to the Elgol dinosaur.
The Elgol dinosaur gives us a window into how some of the early dinosaurs evolved in the Middle Jurassic, a period from which we don't have many dinosaur fossils from anywhere in the world. They extracted it in 2018, and it took them 8 years to analyze it. After careful analysis, they came to the conclusion that this dinosaur is most likely an ornithopod, aka something that's related to the later iguanodonts and Parasaurolophus.
We did a thin section and compared it again
Parasaurolophus.
to the thin sections that we have from other groups of dinosaurs.
Parasaurolophus?
And that's the group it most resembles.
And this is how it could have looked like. Keep in mind that this is a rough approximation, this is an artist's impression, and you know there's not much to go off of here in the fossil, so we have to rely on what we know about how other ornithopods look like. Now I think this is a much more accurate representation, 100%, honestly. This? No. This is it. This is peak art, peak Elgol dinosaur. Now, if you have been keeping track with the dinosaur fossil discoveries in Scotland, then you would be like, but wait! The first dinosaur fossil was discovered in 1992! Lies! Well, the thing is, Elsa wasn't the first one to discover it on the Isle of Skye.
So I had a look at the field diaries of one of the first teams that worked there. And when I was doing that, there all of a sudden just jumped out of the page this drawing that they had of something they had seen in 1973, and it matched exactly what we had found on the shore. And then there was a note beside it written by Robert Savage, who had kept this diary, and it said bones of ? Dinosaur on big block, and then V large prob, as in probably, land reptile.
The fossil was first reported in 1973. Elsa and her team then extracted it in 2018. And this is how they did it. Lots of drilling, hammering, random paleontology chat.
What is it?
Just a piece of crap.
Oh.
More hammering, cracking, sliding, and smiling. Ah. Cute.
It's really exciting and significant just to find a dinosaur that isn't just one single bone or even just some footprints, but it's multiple bones from one animal.
Then it sailed off on an inflatable boat to be prepared and studied. Now you may be wondering, and you should be wondering, cool fossil, but what's the big deal? Why is it so important? Well, dinosaur fossils from that period, the Middle Jurassic, are really rare. But what makes it even more rare is that it was found in Scotland. And Scotland doesn't have a lot of dinosaur fossils. And that's partly because of the last ice age.
Scotland probably would have more fossils if it wasn't for the ice age. I think really what that kind of did was scoured a lot of the landscape. You know, it was like a great big file just taking off the nail tip of Scotland.
If the nail tip contained lots of dinosaur fossils. And so because across the world we don't have many dinosaur fossils from the Middle Jurassic, and because we don't have many dinosaur fossils from Scotland, this fossil helps us add a puzzle piece to a very incomplete puzzle. It helps us understand things like when it lived, how big it could have been,
where they were in the world, how they fit into the ecosystem. So if we know there's lots of other creatures there, we can fit this new group in and begin to understand the whole ecosystem, because there aren't that many fossils from that time.
And like, no kidding, it's not a picture perfect fossil. It looks like a mess. It doesn't look like the idea of a fossil the media often shows. I'm good media. You should trust me because I show ugly fossils. It's not pretty. It's real. We really don't know much about dinosaur evolution, so this helps us understand just how they went from early dinosaurs to the group of reptiles that came to dominate the Earth. Now, before I leave you, I want to show you a question that I really wanted to ask Elsa. My question is, if a dinosaur could make a sound, what sound would it make?
A chewing sound. Chewing, because it was a herbivore. So I think thinking about if you're walking past a field of cows and you close your eyes, what do you mostly hear? You hear the sound of their feet falling on the grass, and you hear the sound of them chewing. I reckon if you were in the forest and you close your eyes and this dinosaur walked by, you'd hear probably the same noises.
This is it. Bye-bye. Parasaurolophus!